But no, I'm so pissed off, you guys. And tell me why. Like, I went on a rampage, right? After work, because that's about the time that the businesses start to open in the US. I started calling. I have two accounts here. One of them is like PNC Bank, and then another one is a smaller investment fund. So I was calling all these numbers and not being able to reach through because apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently that you cannot dial 1-800 toll-free numbers in the US from Japan. So I had to like search around and find paid numbers and ask them to transfer me to the department that I wanted. It was very convoluted. And then come to find out, I didn't even realize this, but everyone is off because it's the 4th of July weekend. So I'm like, oh, there was one guy that I connected with in a different department because like I needed a number that was not 1-800. So I dialed to, I forget the name of the department, but it wasn't related to investments, but it was with PNC Bank. And he was the sweetest man in the world. I was like, hey, I'm sorry. Can you help me? Like, I have kind of a complicated issue. And he was like, oh, sure. What's troubling you? I could tell from his voice, he was giving me like an older gentleman, maybe like 50s. And throughout the conversation, he was so helpful and nice. He was like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry for your loss, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but at least I had a really good relationship with my dad. So no regrets. And he wouldn't want me to feel sad. And like, he had all the patience in the world. And he was like, oh, so we just started over here. It's like 8:30 a.m. So you actually called during a really opportune time because this is the time when the phone lines are the most clear. Like if you called during the afternoon or something, you would probably be put on hold for 5 to 10 minutes because we always have really busy lines. But since it's 8:30 a.m., your call came through immediately. He was just so sweet. We had a really good talk. I was like, can you connect me to the investments bureau or the investments department or because I can't dial it, the 1-800 number, because I'm in Japan. And he's like, yeah, I can transfer you over there, no problem. Like, again, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm sure it must be overwhelming. Like I personally don't handle those accounts. Like I gave him some of my dad's info. I gave him his social security number to see if he could look anything up. But he was like, oh no, nothing is coming up on my side. So let me go transfer you to the investments department. And then I was just like, yeah, it took me a while even to work up the courage to try and sort all of this out because it's very intimidating. I don't know anything about my dad's accounts really, and his death was really unexpected. And he was like, oh yeah, you know what? You're doing so great. Like this is amazing. I'm rooting for you. And I was like, wow, I love America. Like Americans are actually really, really dope. I always knew that, but with all the bad press that America is getting in the news lately, I'm like, yet still, at the end of the day, every time I have a one-on-one interaction with an American, I'm an American myself, by the way, for those of you who don't know, but I've been abroad for, the past 13 years. So I haven't lived in the US for a long time, but every time I come in contact with and have an interaction with a fellow American, I'm always left reminded of how actually friendly and open they are. And like some people say that, Americans put on a big show, but at the end of the day, sometimes they don't really mean it, right? Like they'll act really friendly and open, but then once the conversation is over, they don't actually want to help you. But I think it depends. And like different areas in America have different characteristics that are more prevalent, but it just reminded me, it was such a good feeling. I was like, wow, yeah, this is why I'm proud to be an American. Now, I promise I'm not MAGA. Okay, I promise. But it's such a stark contrast between when you call certain services like that here in Japan, like not to shit on Japan or anything, but it's just different. That kind of stuff, that would never happen if I called a banking institution here in Japan. They're like robots, and it's not their fault. They're trained that way. It's strictly business. Like they're not going to deviate at all from the main point of the conversation, which is just, okay, you're calling here to check your accounts. And then the people are always on edge as well. That's what I don't like about Japan. Like the service is really good, but I don't like, because I understand both sides of the fence, right? So I don't like the knowledge that, okay, the service is good, but the people are always on edge and they're like about to have a nervous breakdown any second because it's drilled into them here that the customer is king, or no, the customer is God, is the saying in Japanese. So they're like petrified of making any misstep to displease you as a customer. And I really hate that, because I'm a really easygoing person and I don't like to, I don't take out my anger on the inappropriate person. I have enough emotional intelligence and control to know that even if I am having a bad day or I have a frustrating situation that I'm dealing with, it's not appropriate to displace that frustration onto whatever service worker happens to be in my path. That doesn't have anything directly to do with my, the source of my distress. So like a lot of people here are assholes, quite frankly, to service workers. And so that's why they're always on edge and they're like super formal, super, some of them are really nice, but there's always a wall, right? And there was a point in the conversation with this guy from PNC Bank where, a member of the infamous Bosozoku in my neighborhood zipped by my window, as they do, on his loud ass motorcycle, and the guy was commenting like, oh, whoops, I think there was I think you're next to a motorcycle. Are you next to a motorcycle park or something like that? He made like a funny joke, and I was like, oh, haha, I'm so sorry. They built this new road near my apartment. It's been driving me insane because they always like zip down up and down this road and make so much noise on purpose. And it just struck me. I was like, that was so refreshing to me because that kind of a conversation would never happen with a bank employee of all people in Japan, or any service worker. Anyone that you're calling as a customer to help you solve an issue, they would never like crack a joke like that with you. It's not that kind of culture. So that was like, oh, it hit me in the feels. Like, oh my God, America. I am happy to be American after all. No, but honestly, real talk though, as it relates back to the topic of this video, I think at the end of the day, like, I am a product for sure of American individualism. Obviously, I was born and raised there. So I'm like, definitely, yeah, I care about my individual interests more than like that of the group. Especially, okay, I have no problem, like meeting new people, dealing with different personalities. It's part of the job and whatever, even like going to lunch and stuff with people. I have no problem handling those types of business socializing scenarios. But where I draw the line, when it comes at a detriment to my own well-being and mental health, in order to like put on this performance or go through this charade and these useless steps that I'm expected to do just to prove that I am part of the team or part of the family, as they like to say, when it comes at the cost of my own well-being, that's where I draw the line. Like, no, I'm not doing that shit under any circumstances. I will take the lone wolf road, the American individualist road any day over that. Okay, I'm not going to be another statistic like that lady that Moon Pie mentioned earlier. I'm not going to be front page news somewhere, or probably not even front page news, right? These kinds of things don't even make the paper. They don't even like give it the respect that it deserves. The news is all about highlighting the stories that garner the most attention or are the most rage baity. So I'm not going to I'm not going to even be even a lesser version of that type of statistic. Like, I don't think I'm not the type that would ever be close to dying on the job, knock on wood. But even like, okay, I'm not sleeping as much as I need to because of a job. Like, no, that's not ever going to happen on my watch anymore. I used to be in those situations sometimes when I was younger, but I am going to be 37 in August. I've been sleeping 8+ hours every day for a long time now. Okay. I've been used to, this very comfortable situation for myself, which is work from home for a long time. So the days of struggle, the days of like having to get on the train every single day, those are behind me. I'm sorry you think that you think that you can convince me to go along with a different agenda that requires me to go into the office every single day for 2 hours a day to do your little BS course, but that doesn't align with my personal plans for myself, like, I don't need your situation. It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. Okay. So I don't know what you want to do about that. Anyway,